Okay, today we're going to talk about our breath and really ways to manipulate it and that will actually bring some stability, but it's also going to bring a lot of awareness to something that we don't tend to spend a lot of attention or pay a lot of attention to in our daily life, or at least most of us do. I use your breath as a teaching tool for you to learn if you're creating unnecessary stress through an exercise, or if you're cheating to, say, use a body part that you shouldn't be using to do a specific exercise. So more or less what this exercise is going to do is create some awareness of where you struggle with your breath, but also by thinking of it in a different way. Because a lot of times when we lie down and just try to breathe, we find like our mind wanders and you're creating a lot of tension trying to force the breath down and more. And what I'm going to do with this exercise is it's just going to open up areas where you tend to be restricted just by thinking about your breath in a different way. Okay, so all I want you to do is find a spot. You can change your position. You want to work on it 5 to 10 minutes a day. And all you're going to do is go through these cues. So every day you could pick a different one. So it doesn't have to be all at once. But more or less what you're going to do is just concentrate on your breath. So if you're sitting, you're just going to take a few breaths. And while you're breathing, I just want you to think of what the temperature is. Okay, so typically when you breathe in, it's a little bit cooler than when you breathe out. And I want you just to take a few breaths thinking about that. Okay, now as you breathe, just take note of what the noise is. So when you breathe in, it typically is a little bit more of a higher pitched noise versus when you breathe out, tends to be a little deeper. And just pay attention to that breath for a few moments, the noise of it. Okay, now what happens when you try to take away the noise? So you still want to continue to breathe, but you're going to try to take away the noise that your breath makes. And you'll notice that tension will arise somewhere in your body, nothing's wrong. You're just playing with what happens when you change the thought process behind your breath. Okay, now forget about taking away the noise. And now what I want you to do is just take a few moments to notice what's inflating, so what's getting bigger when you inhale and what's getting smaller as you exhale. Okay, now once you've kind of spent a little time doing that, now when you inhale, say your belly gets bigger, and then as you exhale, your belly gets smaller, I want you to try to reverse that. Now this kind of hurts the brain a little bit. So what you want to do is if it gets bigger when you inhale, I want you to try to restrict that bigger when you inhale. And then as you exhale, I want you to think of that getting bigger. So it's reversing the order that it naturally wants to do. So what that will do is it will force the air somewhere else. So if you think of a balloon, and it's full of air, and if I squish one side of it, it's going to force more air to this side, right? So what we're trying to do is just create a little bit of movement of that air and using just different thought processes to move it around, which actually creates stability. Right? So what you will notice with this is you'll struggle with some more than others. There's nothing wrong. You're just going to take note of what happens with the different ways of thinking about your breath, because that is going to bring a lot more into the following exercises, just helping you to understand right from wrong, or where your struggles are versus where you can relax. Okay, so have fun with this one.